how did you get to the point of loving yourself enough and trusting yourself enough to go on this weight loss journey and stick to it and have that be a part of who you are now, helping others?
Yeah, it was something I wasn't even aware of, to be honest about. I always was, as far as, eating healthy, exercising for the most part, I'd done a marathon, I'd done a few things, so I was somewhat active, I would say. But the extra weight, I think, was not about eating healthy and exercising. It was an extra protection from something that I didn't even think was an issue or was something. It's kind of like it was a forgotten box of Christmas ornaments that was packed into the basement and collecting dust. And I didn't even look at it as this thing that I was avoiding or this thing that I wasn't dealing with or this thing. I thought it was done and dusted, literally. And then my TED Talk came about, which was something that I wanted to do as a 5-year goal. Part of me is always looking to learn and grow, and the application to one of the mastermind groups that I wanted to be part of, it's a philanthropy women's goal group called the New Hollywood. In the application they said, well, what do you want to do in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? And I kind of run out of idea after the second question. I'm like, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, I'll do a TED Talk, that sounds great. Because I've been a speaker for some time, so I figured 5 years that'd give me some good time. And literally I went away on vacation 2 days after that interview with the New Hollywood, and when I came back a couple weeks later, there was an email in my inbox inviting me to do a TED Talk, which I almost fell off my chair, because I was like, I know that stuff happens, but darn it, it's just always surprising when that happens, right?
And how did that happen? How did you get connected, or who hooked you up?
I had just really literally just put it out there. For the first time I had verbalized it, because I had internally wanted to do something like this, but I was too scared to say it out loud, because, when you declare something big, what if you fall? And people watch you fall, and, it's like, so I kind of just quietly had it as an intention internally for a good 3 months, because I remember I saw a TED Talk in May from a friend of mine, and the interview with the New Hollywood was in August. So that was literally the first time after writing it down in the application that I verbalized it. And I think it was just a matter of owning it and saying, yeah, I do want to do that. And sharing it with a friend whose assistant was then connected on the production team of one, and they're like, oh, well, we've seen your talks, and then the invitation came. Now, it was an invitation to apply, and you still got to apply and all that jazz, and then you're accepted in. And I thought, well, let me put it this way. I never thought my TED Talk was going to be about what it was. It was a story that I'd never shared before. I wasn't planning on sharing it. It wasn't anything that I thought needed to be dealt with, because I thought it had already been dealt with. So when that came out, and I remember my TED coach, because they assign you a coach, said to me, TED is your opportunity to transcend what you normally speak about. He said, you want to set up a great expectation for your audience, and then you want to surprise them. Okay. Then, that cuts away a lot of the
It does.
fat and the fluff, and you're like, oh, that story. Ooh, okay. So I got uncomfortable really quick, and I remember the Thursday night, this was, the TED was on a Saturday morning before Thanksgiving. The Thursday night, I was doing a last run through, and my brother happened to be in town from Europe, and he hadn't heard the story either, and I did give him a heads up, and he helped me a little bit with, the practice that night, and there were a couple other friends. Sally was there, her Kevin, my friend Kevin, he was there. And after Sally and Kevin left, I was having a conversation with my brother. I was like, do you really think I should do this? And maybe I, have some other stories. And he was like, no, there's always something, and I paraphrase here, because I remember he was like, the porch light was on and he was about to leave. He's like, there's always something that we bump up against in our lives. And sometimes we don't know what it is, but we just keep bumping up against, and you found your thing. So by you sharing yours, it'll help other people find theirs. and then, you know, kind of just grow from there. And I thought that was such a wise, at least that's what I heard from what he said. That's such a wise thing, and it made it easier for me to share my story. And without rehashing the story, what happened though, the sort of like the Reader's Digest version, is that I had equated for a number of years being healthy and fit with being in danger. So every time I was starting to lose the weight and get fit again, internally a red flag would go on, and it would be like, I don't know if I can swear here, FCC, but it would go, oh shit, you know, like, instead of being, oh yay, like I had lost 5 pounds or 2 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever it was, internally I'd feel really unsafe. So then I would self-sabotage and put the weight back on. And I could see the mechanism, but I didn't understand what was going on with it. And then the TED came out. Now talk about being visible, right? January 3rd, boom, start to the year, your TED Talk goes out. And then it starts getting hits and hundreds, and then it goes into the thousands. And then I would literally walk into a room and I feel, okay, nobody's seen it. And I would feel safe, which was bizarre. It was like the same as the being on the scale. And then I'd walk into a room. By then I was in the New Hollywood. Talk about, you know, freaking intentionality, because we had our first meeting of the New Hollywood, and my TED Talk was done, edited, and published within, like I said, 5 years, and it just ended up being like 5 weeks or something. And I walked into that room, I remember, and I was like, okay, some members haven't seen it yet, and I felt safe. And some members had seen it, and these are all amazing, wonderful, empowering ladies who have your back, and still I felt unsafe. So I started to notice, being healthy and fit and visible, because healthy and fit, you know, usually you become more visible. People notice you, they say something maybe about your physicality, equal being in danger. So that's why I had been hiding. So even though I was eating healthy and exercising, I was not losing the weight because I wasn't feeling safe. And then when I started to dig with a friend of mine, Renee, you probably know Renee O'Connor, yes? When I started to dig a little bit with her about how could I equate healthy and fit and safety to coexist. And I did some work with her. You know, I did some work with other coaches. I always say, you know, you could be the best brain surgeon on the planet, because I work with this with my clients. So it was baffling to me. It's like, I know these concepts, I know, but it's one thing to have the concept, one thing to have the experience. So even if I'm the best brain surgeon on the planet, I'm not going to be able to operate on myself. So I took my whole toolbox to someone who does the work that I do, or, you know, awareness work and that kind of stuff. And once I was able to get the experience of truly being healthy and fit equal safety, like I can be safe, then the weight started coming off, the self-sabotage started to stop, the fitness, the eating, all of that, finally, the return on investment